half in the bag. Fuck all this stupid popcorn shit.
Well, Jay, that certainly was a very exciting ending to a long storyline. We stopped those jewel thieves, we saved the president, and we even taught that conservative town to enjoy rock music.
That's right, Mike. Although I do feel bad that we left Plinkett stranded on top that mountain.
Oh, right.
Oh, so cold, so cold.
Whatever. What's more amazing is that we made it down that freezing mountain with no coats or climbing gear.
Well, Mike, we should probably get back to work. I'm sure we have hundreds of orders from asshole hipsters that want their VCRs repaired.
That's right. What?
What the fuck are those things on the walls?
There's like a little cartoon pig riding on a Twinkie.
Oh my god, it's a tarded.
It certainly is. What the fuck is all this?
Oh, hi, can I help you? Do you need your Atari 2600 fixed?
What the fuck is that?
Or your Nintendo or Sega Saturn.
What are you fuckers doing in our store?
You must be Mike and Jay. The landlord told us about you. He said you've been gone for months and never paid your rent. So he let us have the building.
What's rent? I don't know. Fuck you!
Yeah, we took over this business legally from Tim Heidecker right after he flew through the ceiling to start a web series about two guys that review movies.
Well, sorry dudes, but it's our shop now, and business is bombing. Booming. Business is booming?
What's wrong with that man?
I don't know.
Yeah, so take that box of personal stuff with you when you leave.
Mike, what are we gonna do?
I'm sure I'll think of something really terrible and stupid. Okay. But first, we've got to stall them. Hey guys, I feel like we might have gotten off on the wrong foot. What do you say we all go out together and watch a movie? How about Disney's Marvel's The Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron?
No.
Yeah, what do we look like to you? A couple of mouth-breathing man-children?
Hey, I resent that, good sir. I am not a man-child.
Oh geez, the bottom broke on the box.
God damn it.
Oh no. All of our man-child toys fell all over the floor. Give us a moment to pick them up. Oh no!
My Gizmo lost his body.
That's not Gizmo, that's the other Gremlin from Gremlins 2, the new batch.
My Lenny lost his body.
That's right. Oh no, my Return of the Jedi speeder is broken.
Worf's okay.
Oh, that's...
Jack, this is so sad to watch.
A Stay Puft Marshmallow guy.
I don't know, I feel sorry for him. Why don't you put that Pokemon machine down? We'll just go watch the movie with him.
Sure. Can I bring my portable Pokemon machine?
Oh, God, yeah. Of course you're bringing the portable Pokemon machine. Do you have Emerald or Ruby?
Both.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was designed to save the world. People will look to the sky and see hope. I'll take that from them first.
The 2015 summer movie season kicks off with Disney's Marvel's The Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. That's right, man-children. It's that time of every other year when the Avengers assemble to fight something, smash buildings, and learn the important lesson of teamwork. In this second film, Iron Man makes an AI crazy person called Ultron. Ultron wants to kill all life on planet Earth. His counterpart is a man with red skin who lives in a metal box. His name is the Seer, or the Watcher, or the Knower, or something. He shoots at Ultron with a laser crystal on his forehead. And other characters have some development. The film ends eventually. So, Jay, Rich, Jack, what did you think of Avengers 2?
Well,
Well,
they
I
introduced
thought
the Division.
there was something
They don't know how to
but
do
the
it.
second one had a lot of interesting points.
And then, the best part of the movie was clearly like when Iron Man got lesser armor on,
The scene of the Watcher, I couldn't remember what the
and
name
he got some nice character development for this one, where, he was going to have a whole romance going on with the Black Widow, and the Black Widow was fun.
But like, you get that porno gif.
You? What did you think of Disney's Marvel's Avengers 2?
A lot of explosions happened, but that's not too shocking. I enjoyed the character moments when they all lived on a farm for like a week. Let's talk about the game they're inevitably going to make about the movie.
Wait, let's continue to talk about the movie.
Sounds like a great idea.
Jack or Man, what did you think of Avengers 2?
I liked it. It was less focused than the first Avengers movie, and I think that part of it's also missing a lot of the hype from the first Avengers movie, and so it fell a little flatter for me.
It's missing the excitement of like the first movie. It's like they're building up all these movies, and it's like, bam, the Avengers, they're all together, and they're in a tightly crafted story with lots of great little moments and good character work. This is exciting. And now we've had all these other movies, and now we just have another Avengers movie.
Well, it's kind of the opposite. The first movie is about them coming together. This movie is about them flying apart.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
The whole movie, the theme is breaking down of things. And I think that's going to be because of Civil War, because they need to be enemies by the time Civil War comes around.
We can tear them apart. From the inside. That's the best you can do!
See, I think the point is, though, with the opening, is you start off, they're a cohesive team. That's the point of that scene. Everything works together fine. They're great. They all work well together. And then by the end, Iron Man wants to do things that Captain America doesn't like, and Thor's angry at Iron Man for trying to do this or that, and they all go their separate ways. It's the breakdown of the Avengers.
And all that's fine. Okay, Avengers, Age of Ultron. It's about Ultron, right?
Sure.
And that was a neat storyline, I thought. Unfortunately, it's clouded by tons and tons of other shit that's going to be related to other movies, setups for future things, just introducing all these characters because, hey, look, it's Quicksilver, or it's Fast Man that isn't Quicksilver and he's not a mutant.
I disagree. They didn't introduce too many new characters.
Well, there's like them, and there's they got to bring back all the other side characters from the previous movies. We got to put Stellan Skarsgård in it because he was in the other movie.
He was barely in this.
We have to introduce Hawkeye's wife for no reason.
That was the best part of the movie, though.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, nothing in the movie was a problem on its own. Like, I liked all the elements, and there was lots of fun stuff in it. The problem was, like, you gotta stay focused. Like, you gotta cut out some of this stuff or save it for a future movie. It was like everything. It's like this movie is like an ice cream headache, where it's like ice cream's great, but you don't eat it so fast. You gotta savor it, because if you eat it too fast, then it just becomes headache-inducing.
Oh no, and like we get introduced to major players. Like the arms dealer is a big part of the Marvel universe. Vision, Ultron, Pietro Romanoff, and Lady Romanoff, the two people who are not mutants.
They're not mutants.
They're definitely not mutants.
So Quicksilver is not a mutant?
Well, not in this universe.
Which one? Because Quicksilver is in X-Men Days of Future Past.
He's a mutant in that because they have the rights to call him a mutant in that.
In the comic books, Pietro, who's this girl's name? Pietro and Wanda are Magneto's children.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Quicksilver's Magneto's son. I remember that.
And so here they're genetic experiments, certainly not mutants, because they don't have the right to.
But they never call him Quicksilver because they don't have the rights
or
to that.
Scarlet Witch.
They did experiments on them that just happened to mutate some of their genes.
He's quick and has silver hair.
With white lightning bolts and a bluish suit.
She has witch-like powers that turn red. Some would say scarlet.
I was confused about her powers. Is that similar to the comic? Like, I understand the making everyone have weird nightmare visions, but she's like shooting red beams out, and like, what was that doing?
She does witchy stuff.
She technically speaking, has reality warping powers. She is the most bizarre mutant, or not mutant in the movie, character in the Marvel universe. She has reality warping powers, which mostly means she can pick stuff up and throw it.
Okay.
But
it's changing reality by smashing things.
Yes.
I mean, she's got to be able to fight.
Sure.
If you can't fight in a scene, then you got to get out of the movie. That's why they got rid of Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner has the best bit of dialogue in the whole fucking movie.
Turning him into a comic relief character was a great idea.
That's a great idea because he has nothing to do. So there's a great little scene with him and not Scarlet Witch, where he's talking about exactly what's happening. He's like, we're on a floating city, we're fighting robots, and I'm shooting arrows. None of this makes any sense. It's the best line in the movie.
Yeah, actually, this is a really great comedy film. I don't consider it like.
It's a comedy action film.
And after watching the trailer for the god awful looking Superman versus Batman,
Yeah.
I was like,
No fun allowed.
I was like, this is a comic book movie, not in a Joel Schumacher. This is a comic book movie kind of way, but this is a comic book movie in the way that it's fun.
Yeah, it knows how serious to take it, but still have fun with the concept.
Yes. And they went a little too far here and there with their wink wink humor, but I didn't care personally. I don't take these comic book things all that serious. And if you do, like, get a life. Get a life.
You bring up like the Batman versus Superman trailer and just how fucking depressing that movie looks. It's fun watching the heroes like worry about saving people's lives. There was a significant amount of action dedicated to stopping people from falling off of bridges and getting them out of buildings that are collapsing. The threat at the end of the movie is we have to rescue all of these people, not we have to stop the blue laser. There's some kind of bluish laser-esque things going on, but
There's no blue laser.
it's like, yeah, Captain America's a hero. He just rescued that lady. That's great.
Yeah. He took time out of all this massive chaos to get this one person. Maybe he won't save everybody, but he'll try and save people.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That's why they're superheroes. Because they're heroes.
They're heroes. They're not emo people with superpowers.
Right.
They just want to beat the shit out of each other.
They just want to see who bleeds.
Superman, I'm Batman. I want to beat the fucking shit out of your face. Coming next summer!
Do you bleed? Well, you will. Do you bleed?
That's what Superman and Batman were all about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what made them popular.
They're gonna have little Happy Meal toys with Superman bleeding.
Just a giant head wound.
It'll be like a red piece of paper that you shove through to make it look like he's bleeding.
See, mommy, he bleeds.
I'm making him.
It'll be a ketchup toy. It'll squirt ketchup on your fries. It'll be a little Superman doll.
A little
brilliant.
ketchup dispenser.
Little kid squeezes it.
That's brilliant.
That's pretty great.
Batman makes him bleed on my fries.
Now we need to make that, by the way.
I'm loving it.
And it seemed like they were lacking a lot of the build-up to the action. You know, the first Avengers movie was all build-up, and then we get the last, I want to say half hour of the first Avengers movie is nothing but action.
That's what makes it satisfying, is the build-up.
Exactly, but here it's like the action starts in Age of Ultron, and you're, what, where, who? It almost felt out of place in some scenes.
It was a little cartoony at first. And
The effects even look terrible at first, too.
Yeah, when they're all jumping, you start laughing. And you know, it looked a little cartoony, a little goofy, but then I was like, oh, okay, I'm all right with that. For a moment, I had that watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 moment. When, I told you about this.
The Secret of the Ooze?
Yeah, I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1. It was a little darker, a little more, and then you go in there and then watch the second one, and they're hitting like the bad guys with yo-yos and there's like little kids in birthday party hats cheering, and it's like
Vanilla Ice shows up.
And then Vanilla Ice shows up, and you're like, oh no, it's turned to this. And so I had that feeling for a moment when they're all jumping like a cartoon show. It's like the opening of the X-Men cartoon.
It's in the middle of an action scene.
And I like superhero movies like that. I wish they were more corny instead of like all this like brooding. I like that Ultron was like sarcastic and crazy.
These movies are just the right level of corny.
Don't compare me with Stark. He's a sickness.
Ah, Junior. You're gonna break your old man's heart.
If I have to.
Nobody has to break anything.
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
You beat me by 1 second.
So, Rich, did they do Ultron right? Or Jack and Rich, I guess?
Sure. I'm not,
Do you know about what is Ultron?
I'm not the hugest Avengers comic book buff. Ultron is a robot built by Ant-Man who goes crazy and tries to kill everyone.
You know Michael Douglas in the Ant-Man movies? That's Hank Pym. He's the original Ant-Man.
Hank Pimp?
Pym. P-Y-M.
Ironically, he is a pimp, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dog. He built the original Ultron.
He knows how to backhand a hoe.
Bam, bam.
That's the thing. The comic book Ant-Man hit his wife.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's a really deep reference.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same thing, and he wanted to destroy Earth to purify whatever and who not. And Vision is the same in the comic books, where he's a spawn from Ultron.
Basically, they just replaced Ant-Man with Tony Stark.
Yeah.
So Ultron wasn't supposed to be a bad guy. He just was so incredibly powerful. He realized humans were the big threat to Earth.
He's basically Ed 209, where if you step out of line even a little bit, you're dead.
It reminds me of that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, when they accidentally create Professor Moriarty. Well, they say they create him on accident. They create a supervillain on accident. In the episode, Geordi and Data are playing on the holodeck, right? And they're playing their Sherlock Holmes adventures, and Data keeps solving all the cases too quickly. So Geordi says, "Computer, create an enemy or create an opponent, an adversary that
is capable of
defeating Data." And so the computer interprets that to create something that's smarter than the computer itself. You gotta be really smart to defeat Data. So then they create this holographic character that's
I really liked the part where Black Widow was riding on Hulk's back as they climbed up the floating city. That was great.
That was awesome.
I also just, in general, enjoyed their relationship.
Did they fall in love in the last one, or is this
No.
shoehorned
There was
in?
a little tiny bit of setup for it in the last one.
I thought she was fucking the guy with the arrows.
That's why they introduced his wife, so you didn't feel bad for him.
No, but she's the one who recruited him, and she was, and they had their little quasi fight on the helicarrier in the first movie.
Yeah.
And so there was backstory there.
Oh yeah, they were brainwashed or something. He was brainwashed.
No, he was just the Hulk.
Oh, I'm talking about Silver Streaker.
That's not even a...
What does that have to do with
guy
anything
runs
we were
across
talking
naked.
about?
That's a superpower.
I'm talking about Black Widow and Hulk.
What's the guy with the arrows? Jeremy Renner.
Hawkeye.
Silver Star. Whatever.
Silver
Streaker is a Spider-Man villain, right?
No, the Silver Surfer.
The Silver Surfer
is a Fantastic Four thing and was a hero on his own.
Is that Aunt May's alter ego, the Silver Streaker?
I saw a giant silver bush run by at the speed of light.
I'm getting out of this city.
You can't unmask her though, so it can't. You have a hard time making that be the surprising reveal that it's Aunt May, unless he doesn't recognize her until he puts a dress on her. Oh my God, you're Aunt May!
He's so distracted by her naked, wrinkled body.
Because you're looking away. That's why. That's the perfect disguise. An old lady with their clothes up.
Her power is that she runs so slowly. It's like Medusa.
Each individual wrinkle flapping in the breeze. Yeah.
Do you think this is the real reason Sony's Spider-Man cinematic universe completely fell apart? Because this is what they were planning for the solo Aunt May movie?
We all are, with nothing but our wit and our will to save the world. So stand and fight.
No way we all get through this. I got no plans tomorrow night.
I'm always picking up after you boys.
I feel like this is the first real sign of kind of Marvel cracking under the weight of their own mythology.
A crack in the Iron Man armor.
Sure.
A
wasn't even
chink
clever.
in the armor.
Yeah, it wasn't even,
But what you guys are starting to see now is they are scratching the surface of when comics run out of ideas. It gets weird. We get into space. Vision as a character in general, that's how he is in the comics. He's a weird red man with a laser in his forehead, and it's weird.
See, I liked Vision. I heard
liked
you
him a
when we were
lot.
leaving the theater, Rich, you were saying that you thought he looked stupid in this movie. I loved him because that was the most comic booky looking, goofy character. I thought he was great.
He walked right out of the 1970s comic books.
Yeah, I love
and onto the screen.
He really did, and I don't know if that's a good thing.
He doesn't. He doesn't
great.
fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though.
Well, when you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, that's the real weird shit they're doing out there. He's fine. You could picture that guy in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I loved it.
But they had to throw in that tie-in, though, to the Thanos and the Infinity Gems, and this movie did not need this. It just needed to focus on Ultron.
Yeah.
And them fighting Ultron.
Well, after the movie, we were discussing, like, what was with the gem, the magic gem? I know it's the Infinity Stone, but it's like, okay, we have a scene where all of our characters are having moral conflicts about whether they should bring this artificial life with human skin or whatever to life. Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, they want to do it. Captain America and whoever else, they're like, no, you can't do that, Scarlet Witch. And then Thor comes out of nowhere and he throws down his hammer and lightning shoots everywhere. And I was like, what is happening? And then he explains something about, like, I had a vision and this is the Infinity Stone. And I was like,
Now this is a trick question, but how many Infinity Stones are there?
6.
point being, they put that in there, even though it was convoluted and confusing to anyone that's not a huge comic book nerd. Solely so it would tie in with these other movies, because extending the cinematic universe is more important than telling a clear, concise story.
Yes. I'm gonna say, I think I know what Jay's problem is. I understood what was going on. It just would have been cleaner if they took out the Infinity Gem stuff. And you take that part out, and it's just the AI who goes mad and wants to destroy all life. Because
I liked all those elements you were talking about, but all the other things crammed in. It's like going to like a website and trying to read an interesting, entertaining article, and just like pop-up ads taking over the entire site, where you're like seeing the article through it, but you're like, get out of my way.
And then you click on the hyperlink to understand that annotation. You start reading that, go back to the main story. Oh, there's another hyperlink?
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, that's an interesting...
I want to see a story about Tony Stark fucking up and creating an AI that decides that it wants to destroy the world. Like, that's great. That's pretty interesting plot.
If that happened, you'd be complaining that was too simplistic.
No, not at all. Not if it had all the other elements of this with like the characters working together and the banter between them all, because I like
I don't
all
know.
that stuff.
I got the stone thing. I like the fact that this weird alien superhero came out of a box. I like that guy.
He's a robot superhero.
A robot, yeah. And they were all shooting lasers at Ultron at the end.
That was great.
I don't mind a little touch of a little expansion here and there. I thought it was more or less decently blended.
Yeah.
There's nothing that sounds more nerdy than Infinity Gems.
It's true.
It's a pretty good story in the comics.
Well, let's talk about that.
It's going to make a terrible movie.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about that then. They're setting up the Infinity Gems for the Infinity Gauntlet, which Thanos will have, and that I'm assuming is going to be the next Avengers movie.
No, maybe. I think they're going to make a separate movie for it.
Okay, but either way, they're setting this all up.
Also, Thanos is the purple monster that you see in the movie.
Yeah, played by Josh Brolin.
Now, let me ask you a question. When Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet and puts it on, is the film going to be called Thanos and the Hand of Fate?
Yeah.
But Rich, you were saying, okay, that storyline, great comic. Why don't you think that'll work as a movie?
These movies are all about the heroes beating up the bad guys, and they have action adventures. The Infinity Gauntlet is about a god who worships death that murders everybody, and the heroes are powerless to stop him.
Well, isn't that the new Superman movie?
Tell me, do you bleed?
Basically. See, that's my problem with it. The tone in the Marvel movies has all been fun. Yeah. The Infinity thing that they're building up to as the climax is it's just not gonna fit with everything else they've done. If they do it like the story is in the comics.
Well, then they'll just change it. And they'll make it lighthearted, and they'll make setups for 15 more movies.
Exactly.
What if Thanos is defeated by the Silver Streaker?
I gotcha. He's so distracted, and then Fast Man that isn't Quicksilver just runs up and steals the Infinity Gauntlet right off his hand.
No, Silver Streaker's bush catches on the Infinity Gauntlet and rips it off.
Ooh, I got a Brazilian.
What is the Infinity Gauntlet?
The Infinity Gauntlet, basically, as the story goes, and there might be different versions because that's how comic book works. In the Marvel Universe, there was a singular god who murdered himself, who committed suicide, and what was left over are the Infinity Gems, and those are the pillars of reality.
What do you mean left over? How when you die, how do these magic gems appear?
They created the universe as we know it.
Your space. It's a space.
It's a space. And if you gather the Infinity Gems together, you are God in the Marvel Universe for all intents and purposes. And Thanos, who actually worships like death.
Not just worships death.
He's in love. He's in love with death.
Who is a real person.
He's a real person in the Marvel Universe. So he gets the gems, becomes a god, and he literally murders half the universe.
Okay.
and everyone is completely powerless to stop him because he is God.
Because with all the Infinity Gems, you can control reality.
And the crux of the story is that what all Thanos wants is for Death to love him back, and she just doesn't. She won't.
So the Avengers will stop Thanos by learning to work as a team. Well, speaking of Man of Steel and this new film, okay, we're watching this film and it's 2 hours and 41 minutes long. We get to the end credits and there's 55,000 people's names. Are these movies now? Are these, like Rich, you're saying, they could trim it down to a cohesive 90 minutes? No, not anymore. It has to be twice that length. It has to be filled with everything. And the action scenes have to be so over the top, so exciting that they need 50,000 people, 50,000 computer animators just doing this. Like, is that what movies are now? Like, I'm just speaking action movies specifically.
My point wasn't that they should have cut it down to 90 minutes. My point was they could have, and it still would have had the same plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of that is extended fights.
You know what it is? It's like fast food. It's like when they made fast food meals. And they keep making like the large size cups bigger and bigger. And then the meals get bigger and bigger. And I think that's what it is. It's just like an expansion of like, because people, it's only 90 minutes long, there's not enough loudness and a lot of explosions. You're right, technically. They could have cohesively made a 90-minute long story with a couple of sporadic action scenes that was very satisfying. But people say 90 minutes, it should be 241 minutes. And should have lots of explosions and lots of things going on. Much like the McDonald's value meal has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over time because people's appetites keep getting bigger and bigger for entertainment.
Yeah. I definitely feel like Joss Whedon was struggling more with this one than the first one is so clean cut. It's long, but it doesn't feel bloated. It doesn't feel like, oh, this could go, this could go. This movie, I feel like there was a lot of stuff that could just, like, it wasn't necessarily bad on its own, but pull it out. Have a more satisfying, clear-cut story.
Not going to happen anymore. Can I say, though, for a movie that's just like a clusterfuck of people shoving everything into it, they did a good job with it.
Oh, sure.
It didn't fall flat on its face.
Spider-Man 3, where it's like, this doesn't go with this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But it's getting near that point. It's like that little Running Man game that we play, where you hit A, B, C, A, B, C. Guap.
It's like Guap.
It's like Guap, where it's like running, and soon it's going to fall on its face.
And the guy's just teetering and balancing, and you're making progress, but eventually you're going to fall.
It's going to fall, yeah.
And that man is Kevin Feige. Is that his name?
Kevin Feige.
Feige?
I want to say is how you pronounce it.
He's the Quap guy right now.
Because Avengers 3 will not be a cohesive 90-minute film. It's going to be 3 hours and 41 minutes.
You bring up The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I think the difference between this and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is like a bologna, bacon, tofu, and ice cream sandwich. It's just all this shit that doesn't work together. The Avengers 2 is just like a larger cheeseburger. It's still a cheeseburger. There's just more meat. There's longer, more extended fight scenes.
Like more meat patties on it, or like a bigger cheeseburger?
Like a bigger cheeseburger.
Yeah. Almost to the point where it's ridiculous, where you look at it like, I could never eat that, but you eat it, you feel a little bloated afterwards, but you're still able to get it down.
But in the end, it turns into shit.
I don't like this metaphor anymore. I don't like this metaphor.
It's just a lot more of it.
This metaphor should stop before the digestive process.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of Marvel movies, at the end of the credits, we got our mid-credit scene.
Which is the first time in the history of any of these movies I knew what it was. All these other ones, something happens, I'm like, who's that? What is this? What?
And you're like, hey, it's Robert Z'Dar in his final role.
Are you saying Thanos is played by Robert Z'Dar? Oh, rest in peace, Robert
final
Z'Dar.
Role.
You can tell he's dying because his skin is purple.
That's right. It's not a lot of blood reaching his face.
They filmed that on his deathbed.
Oh, jeez. Rich, would you recommend Avengers 2?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's all you have to say?
That's all I have to say. If you like action, there's going to be a lot of explosions. There's going to be a really awesome fight between Iron Man and the Hulk. and you get to watch good guys rescuing people. And if you're not as big on the action stuff, there actually are a lot of good just character moments. There's the romance stuff, and then there's the family with Hawkeye. A lot of good characters just being interesting characters. So yeah, it's good. It's a fun movie.
Jack?
Agreed. I definitely recommend it. I think you have to temper your expectations. It's not going to be the massive climax that the first Avengers movie is. It's now another brick in the puzzle instead of the showstopper, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I will agree. It's hard not to recommend it. It's a big tentpole summer movie that's filled with excitement and humor and action. Everyone can enjoy it.
You almost say that begrudgingly. Like, it's good. It's so exciting, I guess, or whatever.
But that's what movies have done at this point, where it's like nothing is really spectacular anymore. You're not that impressed by it. It's like, this is more of what I've seen.
I enjoyed the first one, the first Avengers more. You know, that's an A, this is a good B, B plus, you know, and it has, it's so all over the place. It's hard to define exactly what the problem is, where you're just like, yeah, but really, like, there wasn't much of a problem. It's just, it's so all-inclusive that it's hard to not like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what the solo movies are for. These Avengers movies are like a big celebration of everybody coming together. The individual movies are where you can connect with those specific characters that you like, you know, on a
and you realize
level.
which characters you like based on their individual movies.
Yeah.
Like
Iron Man's the tops.
Yeah, and then there's Captain America, and then Thor is on the bottom.
No, yeah, nobody loves Thor.
Nobody likes Thor. Thor's neat. Thor works as a comic relief character in the big movies, where he's like,
I enjoy movie Thor more than I ever enjoyed comic book Thor.
well,
Movie Thor's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, you know, a little bit.
The second one was so goofy.
Yeah. And I'm glad that, I don't know if they're doing it, but I'm glad that they didn't bother to make a solo Hulk movie with Mark Ruffalo.
No, they haven't done that yet.
Because no one cares.
That's true.
Yeah, we just want the big green guy to smash it.
He doesn't need a movie. They did 2 movies with Edward Norton and then Ben Affleck.
Eric Bana was the first one. And Edward Norton was the reboot one.
Yeah.
And technically, the Edward Norton one is Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, that's in canon.
Yeah.
It might be fun if they ever decide to do Planet Hulk. That's where, because Hulk is so dangerous, Iron Man sends him off into space, and then he ends up at an alien planet where he fights in an alien gladiatorial arena.
See, that's a movie.
That's a movie.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the same like super god villain rehashed stuff every movie. I want to see Planet Hulk.
Then he takes over, he becomes their king, and he leads a space army back to Earth where he's really mad at Iron Man for sending him into space.
That's amazing, Rich. That's amazing.
This is going to be like 2025 Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah.
Jay, whatever this was, Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's like you said, it's hard to pinpoint. I think it's just that like everything in it is.
Same disheartened.
Is it both of you?
You sound disheartened, but just remember that trailer for Batman vs Superman.
Oh no, this is the thing. Like, there's lots to like in this movie. The problem is it's too much of a good thing. Like, all the individual parts are good, but it's just I as someone who likes, especially in this type of movie, I want a clear, concise story.
I think because it's the Avengers and it's because they've taken all of these big major hero names, they've put them together, I think they just feel pressured to throw in everything.
Oh, sure. Like I said, they want to please everyone, and I get that, but it doesn't create for a completely satisfying story.
Tell that to the 25 billion people that watched it.
Oh, sure. You'll get a lot of entertainment out of it. I don't want to come down too hard on the movie. I just worry. I can see the future. I can see what's coming.
He wants it to have been directed by Richard Linklater.
This movie?
He wants to see Thorhood. What a loser. Well, yeah, it'll just be boring. It'll just be fucking boring.
I think that was that.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Avengers 3, where they all get together and fight another super powerful being.
Yeah.
So, Mike, Jay, Rich and I have actual work to do. So please get out.
Yeah.
Oh.
After that whole discussion, they just treat us like garbage.
Well, I guess we should go. Yeah. Oh, Mike!
What?
Didn't you say you were going to come up with a plan to get these guys out of here?
Oh, shit, that's right. I was supposed to be thinking of a plan. You know, we just talked about the Avengers for so long, I forgot.
Oh, you fuckhead. What are we going to do now?
I don't know, Jay, but I'm sure it'll be violent and terrible and very poorly thought out.
Oh God. Well, those guys coming back. They said they'd be back in a few minutes.